So, I have a fun class planned for you all today. Let's move this in case anyone comes late. Yeah. Paige is air quoting fun. You know me so well. You'll need two blocks, and if you were in class on Sunday, this is like the next iteration of that. We're going to focus a lot on um, not just range of motion, but building the strength and the coordination around the hip joint to be able to get into the pose, get out of the pose, and transition in the little nuances between them. So you might want a blanket for later. And if you do have weights, ankle weights, um, you can put those on in a couple minutes. I'm just going to grab mine. I forgot them. Okay. So here we go. I'll start again. Hi. All right. So Sunday's class we did triangle pose, ardha chandrasana, warrior three, which requires a lot of internal and external rotation in the hip joints, as well as the turning of the pelvis. So having the pelvis level, like this, and then tipping the pelvis up, stacking them up sideways, right? So it's like that, stacking the pelvis up and then squaring the pelvis towards the ground. You can think of the hip point shining down or the hip point shining out to the side. And so I'm a big fan of kind of seeing where you are at the beginning, so then you can really see how far you've come after class or during class. So I want you to start with the two blocks. We'll just make it easy. We won't really test the balance yet, but come up with your hands on the blocks, the highest height, and really get your right leg underneath your hip, right? So don't stand too far forward and don't stand too far back. Okay, so right leg right underneath. Think about the heel and the buttock bone. And then even out the weight in your hands. This is going to be a key factor for you when we start to transition. Okay, so think that the left hand has as much weight as the right, and then just lift the left leg back behind you. Yep. So keep the left toes pointing down. So neutral in the hip. That's it. And so you really have to think about inner thigh lifting, or think about adding that internal rotation, because the glute's going to want to take over and kind of make it like messy. Okay. So just think about here, and then go into that tipping external rotation and tip the left side of the pelvis up over the right. And so this would be ardha chandrasana. And you can see when you do that, the left hand gets very light because you've taken the left side and poured it into the right. Okay? And you can keep this the left fingertips on the ground. And now what I want you to do is come back to that warrior three in the legs, but you have to think, this is going to be key, and this is going to be where the core work comes in, that you lift up off that right hip to move the left butt back to its own side, and then both hands should have the same amount of weight. Okay? Try it again. External rotation in the left leg, then the left hip stacks up. There should be very little to no weight in the left hand, and then lift up out. Use the right side of the belly, lift up. So you're coming out of compression in that right hip, and then bring the left foot down. You can come to a little squat. Take a breath in. Notice how that felt. Was it hard for you to come out of the ardha chandrasana back to the warrior three? Was it hard for you to go into it, kind of thing? And then we'll do the other side. So I'm coming back into the prep pose. A little softness in the left knee, even weight in both hands, right leg back behind you. Now we're going to work a lot on this, so we can kind of just mark it here. You can see where my right foot is compared to my right glute. And really, this is what a lot of people do, which makes it heavier in the hands. But if I really lift that leg up, you see my whole front body can come forward. And this is going to pull, that's it, very nice. Paula, that was good. This is going to pull energy and weight out of the standing leg and out of the working leg. So now go ahead and go into that like ardha chandrasana. Right side of the pelvis tips up. Now you may feel this on the inside of the left thigh where you're it's stretching the inner groin. And if that's very tight, this is why that standing leg starts to turn in on so many people. And then lift up out of the left hip. Bring the foot back, toes pointing down, hip neutral. More extension through that back leg, reach out through the chest. And then one more time. So it's like you create space in the hip joint and you have more fluidity to move around it. So very little weight in the right hand when that right hip is tipped up on top of the left. And then draw the belly in, come back, and then right foot down. Okay, come back down. Nice. And then you can just come back. So that's the trend. We want the transition to be easy. And so the question is like, where's the difficulty for you and then why, right? Is it that ability to go from a level pelvis to a stacked pelvis? Is it the internal and external rotation in the hip joint itself? Is it somewhere in the back that's not coordinating? Is it balance that's a challenge, right? So we're going to try and address all of those things. So first, let's just do a passive internal and external rotation. If you want to sit on a little edge of a blanket, it'll be easier, little height. And so you take your hands back behind you. I'll do it a little bit on a 3/4 so you can see a little bit better. But just windshield wiper the legs. Yes. And so the inside of the knee that's coming to the floor, so everyone stay with your knees to the left, your right hip buttock bone will lift up. Okay? Feel that. If you were to do a true internal rotation, you would be sitting on that right butt, and then you would see really what the degree of internal rotation is. Got it? And then go to the right. The left butt lifts up to get the inner knee down. But really, if you were to stay on both sides of the pelvis, you would see where the real range of motion internal rotation is. Good. Come back. Both legs Baddha Konasana. Most people are easier in external rotation. You may, if you see your footprints in the sand, or when you come out of the water, you know, the feet are slightly turned out. There's a natural degree of external rotation. Some people have only one foot that is much more. They stand that way, they walk that way. Again, that's going to lead to issues over time, right? It's like, where are you sitting on the couch? Where are you wearing and tearing? Where do the jeans always rip, right? It's the place where the fabric is being pulled and stretched and used. Draw the legs together, Dandasana, neutral hips. Good. Come to like a constructive rest, internal rotation. So we do this all the time, right? When we lift up and we like squeeze a block and I tell you to move your feet away from each other. You can feel the muscles that are really rotating the thighs medially, internal rotation. Yep. And then we can add a little core right away. We can just draw the knees up and pulse it. So my knees are moving in, my feet are moving out. This is very hard. Where I can feel my left leg being like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. Now come into Baddha Konasana. Okay, we're going to do an active one on the ground that'll give you, you'll be able to really see how much external rotation you have versus internal rotation. And so just come to lay down on your back and then we'll go into the strengthening movements right away. Laying on your back, you bring your right leg up so it's at like 90 degrees. So imagine that like the center of the thigh bone is the axis that the leg is going to be turning on, okay? So you're just going to spin to external rotation. The right foot will come like to the left and towards you. So just go where you can without moving anything else. And notice how, for me, I feel the belly. I get to a certain point and I feel the core kind of kick in to help. And then bring the leg back. And then do it again, external rotation. Bring it back. One more time, external rotation. You should be able to feel the outside of the seat really working. Come back. All right, knee over hip. You're going to do internal rotation. So the foot's going to actually move away because the leg is bent. Yep. And then come back to the middle. Internal rotation, spin the inner thigh away from the belly. Come back. One more time. Internal rotation and hold. And so it's really in the holding that you may really start to feel like, oh, this is tiring. Come back. All right, one more time. External rotation. Come back. Internal rotation. Come back. External rotation. Come back. Internal rotation. Oh my goodness. Come back. Let the heel just flop towards your seat. Bring it down. And notice where your leg is fatigued, right? So I can feel it way up at the very top of the quad, like in and around the hip socket. So straighten the right leg, bend the left. That's one of those movements that is really beneficial to work on um, every day. It's going to keep the functionality of the hip. Bring the left leg up. Again, find that right angle. Think that the center of the bone of the leg is going to be the axis point of which the leg turns, and then go to external rotation. So I am right away, I'm like, I can do this one is so much greater than my external rotation on the right side. Come back. Do it again. External rotation. My second one was just easier than my first. So like what's happening in your body? Come back to the starting place. One more time, external rotation. Again, it's in the holding. Like where else do you feel recruiting happening to help? And it's not a bad thing. Like this is part of like functional movement. Come back to the center. And then internal rotation, the foot moves away. Oh my goodness, that's hard. Just got a thumbs down from Paige. Come back. Internal rotation. Oh my God. So right now I feel like I'm trying to, my body is trying to hike my hip up towards my rib cage, just like try and get some movement from somewhere else. Come back to center. And again, isolate the movement. So I'm going to do less because it's never going to get better if I'm using something else. Come back. All right, let's go back and forth. External rotation, through center, internal rotation. Huh. External rotation, I know what I'm going to be doing every day. Internal rotation. Because in the yoga, come back, external rotation, we're really like isolating this movement right now. And in yoga, there's compound, there's other things happening. We're doing it on the floor or weight bearing, and it doesn't give you that pure come back to the center. Release the foot down. Notice where that leg is tired, if it's the same place, if it's more, if it's less, if it's somewhere else. Straighten the left leg out, shake the legs out. Just reach the arms up overhead and pull yourself apart in two directions. So this is actually a whole yoga pose. It's a full body mudra. And what I want you to feel is from the reach of the arms that you pull the ribs off the pelvis, the belly hollows, and from the reach of the legs, you're gaining space across the middle, right? Gaining space in the hip sockets where some people can feel a little like concrete, right? Like cement sometimes. You're gaining space in the lower back, that place where we tend to like dump into from the upper body and not really fold well from the lower body. All right. Now, let's get to work. Come back. If you have your ankle weights and you want to use them, no more than like 1.5 pounds, because again, they're at the ankle. So what's really, the hip is working a lot harder than just an extra pound. And I'm going to talk a lot about the reach of the leg because that's what's going to give you the ability to pull the spine out of the pelvis, to find that length in the vertebral column, and to really make the energy of the pose move in all of those directions rather than just dumping into the standing leg hip, dumping into the lower back. Okay? Ha! This is going to be so fun. Excited? Super excited. You may want to blanket actually if the yoga mat, is just kind of thin comparatively because we're going to be using our arms. All right. So lie on the left side. And I'll just show you. The first one, top leg, right leg is going to come up and you're just going to kick up towards the ceiling. Yep. So my thigh is facing me. And then you're going to transition right leg on the ground. Here's where the core comes in. You're going to lift up. Right elbow comes down. Left leg lifts up in external rotation. So it's like that ardha chandrasana leg. And you're really working on side seat, back of seat, whole back line of body. Good. Left elbow, actually lift up, use your core. Lift up off the right forearm. You're going to bring the left leg down. This twisting action is going to get into the external and internal oblique. So I'm just showing you, right? I'm doing this twisting action without dumping into my left arm. I come down lightly on the side of the left hip, and then I come down and I kick up again. So see my leg, and then look at your leg. So it's not here, right? This is, again, it's getting this rotation of the pelvis, kicking up. Okay, core, right hand, belly, lift up, left hand, right forearm, back leg. So when we lower down onto the forearms, it's a chance to be able to isolate the seat more. Right hand, turn and twist, land lightly on that left side seat without dumping into the shoulder, and then down, kick up. So it's really about this smooth transition. Yes. Okay, ready? Right hand, left hand, right leg, right arm, lift up. Draw the belly in, and then come back down, lift up. Yeah. And so it's a full body workout. Isolating the back of the seat and the core. Right arm down, left leg lifts up, external rotation. Right hand. Because all of these transitions are going to help us at the end. Good. So look at the left leg. I want you to kick it back and make the leg longer, like you're drawing and sending a laser beam out through the toes. You'll feel that in the seat more. Okay, left leg down, twist, land lightly, left arm down, kick up, send a laser beam out through the toes. Good, draw down, right arm down, left leg up. Lift up onto the right hand, left leg down, belly, twist, kick up, last time. Right leg down, right hand, left arm. Belly's in the whole time. Right arm forward, shift forward. There you go. Lift up. And then just pulse the leg up like 10 times to the ceiling. And then hold the leg up. Think about your right glute, side seat. Hug in, because that's going to give you that stability. It's so nice. And then come to a table, left leg down, right hand up. Yep. So good. Okay, we're going to do the other side. I want you to feel everything working there, okay? So a lot of like back of seat, core, 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 not shoulders and hips, right? So you want to think that you're lifting up off the floor. Left leg, kick up. Yep. So are you stuck here, right? How can you wrap the thigh externally, send a laser out through the toes to the ceiling, draw the belly in. And then leg comes down, This is going to be the supporting leg. Right hand, left elbow. So bring it forward so you can really shift off. Now you can see on this side, you can see my right glute because I'm stacking the hips up. So nice. Okay, right knee, left hand, pivot, swivel. It's all core, lowering you down to the ground easily. Left leg kicks up to the ceiling. Yes. Draw in, pull in, whoop, whoop, whoop. Left, right leg up. Yes. Right leg up. There you go. Right leg down, left hand down. Right arm, swivel, swivel, swivel. Kick up. Yes. All right, in. So it's like you should be able to stop at any point. Right hand. Now left forearm. So opposite. You lower down on the left to be able to kick higher on the right. So good. Okay, left hand, right knee, swivel as you come onto the right forearm, kick up. Yes, you should be feeling your whole midsection working. Do it again. Up, down, up, kick up. Send energy out through the legs. Do two more. Up, turn, 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 all in the abs. Yep, through the legs. Come back. Right leg up. Come back. Left leg up. Okay, we're going to hold at the next one and just do those little kicks up. Look at your leg. Look at my leg. Okay, one more time. Left forearm down and forward, right leg up and back. Pulse it up, pulse it up, pulse it up, pulse it up. Do another 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it at the highest point. Point the foot, reach energy out. Pull your belly in. Now imagine the outer left seat hugs in. That's it. Yes. That's going to keep you from dumping into the left hip. And then bring the right leg down. Come into child's pose. It should feel so good. Forehead on the hands. Take a big breath in. See if that deep lateral breath can come all the way down and you can feel like you get more space across the sacrum. Nice. Okay. Next one. Ready for the next one? The next one is going to be, okay, all fours. I'll show you from the side. So we'll do this side again. External rotation. Taking my leg into external rotation. I'm going to draw it in. I'm going to kick it back. I'm going to draw it in. I'm going to kick it back. Okay? Then I bring the knee in internal rotation. So remember when we were lying on our back, if the knee's in, the foot's out, I shift weight here. Yep, so I can lift my hand up. I bring weight onto that knee. And then I bring the left arm down to kick back in an inverted position. So it's an internal rotation. Yep. I bring the knee back. I come back to all fours. I bring the leg to external rotation. So I've made a full arc from internal to external rotation. Not crossing over, Paula, just yes. And then I come down on both to be able to kick up and back. Yes. So good. Okay, from here, I bring the leg in. It's an external rotation. I come up. I bring it down. I left arm down, right leg up in an inverted internal rotation. Yep. Bring it in again. Yep, so you see, come up atop both hands, external rotation. And then the kicking back of this leg is what brings the elbows down. Yes. So you want to be able to do this without kerplunking on the arms. Okay. This time I bring it in, I come up, knee down, I shift, transfer the weight, left forearm down, right leg back and up in an internal rotation. Nice. So my right leg, I'll show you from the front. My right leg is out to the side in that internal rotation. Okay, so you should be feeling that. It's going to get a lot of side seat. Bring the leg down, still inverted. See, my foot is wider. Leg in external rotation. That's it. The leg kicks back to bring the elbows down. Nice. And then the belly lifts me back up onto the hands when I bring the leg back in external rotation. Invert, knee comes down. Yep, weight bear, bring the leg a little further forward. Right knee comes in. Yes, because left forearm comes down, right leg kicks back. That's it. Okay, that's the sequence, okay? So bring the knee down, come onto all hands. See, my foot's not on the ground. External rotation. Kick back, elbows down. Lift up, come back. Internal rotation. Bring your right knee forward, Paige. When you bring it, that's it. Then the left elbow comes down in line with the right hand, so you have space, and then kick back. Okay, 3 more times. Ready? Let's speed it up a little bit. So, knee down, inverted. External, kick back, both arms down. Come back up, belly. Bring the knee inverted. Elbow down, leg up. You got it. Come up, elbow down. Knee down. External rotation. Both elbows come down because you're kicking back that leg so much. This is what's going to help you in Warrior 3. Come back, invert it, elbow down, leg back, knee down, arm up. External rotation. Come down. You got it. 2 more times. External, internal, arabesque. Back to table, inverted. External, dolphin, arabesque. 1 more time. Whoop, whoop. Kick back. Knee down, external, leg back. Good. Hold the leg back here. Pulse it up. Pulse it up. Same thing. Squeeze your outer left hip in, side seat in to stabilize. And then lift up. Keep the leg lifted. Come up onto the hands. Pull your chest through your arms. Keep reaching that right leg back. Keep reaching that right leg back. Now use the left side of the belly, left side seat. Hollow the right side, come to a neutral pelvis. So I've gone from external to regular. And then bring it down. Whew. Sit back on your feet or come into child's pose. Feel the difference between the right glute and the left. Right? And we'll do that on the other side. So if you need the blanket under the arms, you shouldn't need it that much. I mean, you're just lifting up and like bringing one arm down. Okay? Left side. Starting a table. I'll do it on a slight diagonal. Okay, let's just start an external rotation. So same thing we did on our backs. Yep. Pull in. Right elbow comes down where the left hand is. Leg kicks back. Oh, sorry, both elbows come down in this one. And then lift up. Bring the leg in. Invert it. Yep. So the foot's further out to the side than the knee. And then opposite, right elbow down, left leg kicks back. And out to the side. Yes. Okay, bring it back in. Come back up. External, pull in. Leg comes back, elbows come down. Nice. Leg comes in, elbows lift up. Invert. Left knee comes further forward than the right. And then right elbow down, left leg back and up on the diagonal. Nice. Bring it in again. External. Elbows down, leg back. Yep. Lift up. Invert, weight bear on it. So you're really getting that shift of weight. It's really important for you to be able to bring your right elbow down and kick the leg back. Woo! Good. Hand on the floor, knee on the floor. External rotation. Kick back, elbows down. It's all belly work. So start to go a little bit faster. Whew. Which is the hard one for you? Does it correlate to the diagnostics that we did when we were on the ground? That's it. 2 more. Doesn't matter if you're going slower. I just want you to think about the energy reaching out through the leg and taking the foot higher, which is why we lower the torso down to really isolate the underside of the glute. This is going to help lift your tush off the back of your thigh. You're welcome. All right, the next time you're in that inverted pose, right elbow down, just kick the leg back and out to the side and pulse it up a few times. Think that you're getting lighter on the right forearm, on the left hand, and longer through the spine. Yes. So nice. Hold it there, hold it there, hold it there. And then bring the leg down. Snuggle in child's pose. All right, I have one more juicy one for you. You guys okay? One more juicy one for you. You should be like, everything is humming for me from here to here. Like from here to here. This is all being isolated, inside, outside, around, all the way through internal, external obliques. Okay, this one is fun because it's really going to help us when we come back. This is what I see all the time. Warrior 3. Ardha chandrasana. Right? Like, what's holding the weight of my leg? It's not my leg. It's my back and my hip. Do you see that? And then I'm really heavy in this arm, or I'm heavy in this arm. And I see people in this all the time. This is not a warrior. This is very defeated, okay? And what all this work that we're doing here is to be able to get the pose, which is why I kept saying, like, look at your leg, look at my leg. Make sense? This to this is the ability to go from here to here, to here, to here, to here. Okay? So it's all of that. So this next one is to get out of this. Okay, I'll show it to you. Write it down. Oh yeah, dolphin. So you're here. So we're here, and then you're in a push-up pose. And then you're in a dolphin pose. Yeah, but Paula, I want you to use your belly. I want you to be able to lift up and come down. Yes. So bend the elbows so it's not shocking. And then lift up, find the suspension, come down. So you got to use your belly to slow the descent and press your feet down, okay? And so this is just like the upper body mechanics of it. So it's a little springy. There's a little suspension. Yes. Nice. Okay, and then what's going to help you actually, you'll think it's going to make you harder, but it's going to help you. I'll turn this way. We're going to do this with an extended right leg. So it's from a 4 on the ground to a 3. So just straighten the right leg back. Add the external rotation. Think that you're hugging the left side in. And then really, so I want you to bend the right knee and then kick it back. Bend the right knee and kick it back. Bend the right knee and kick it back. Leg is turned out. So my toes are turned out like a real ardha chandrasana. Okay. So now that you've got that, your mind in the reach of the leg reaches back, which is what's going to make the hands lighter. So you come down to lift the leg up. You reach the leg back to lift up, and you lift up again in this push-up pose. Leg back, it's like a seesaw. Leg back, it's that place in the seesaw where they're both balanced equally. Yes. And lift the leg higher. That's it. So you just kind of oscillate between the two. And it's like, oh, there's nothing heavy in my upper body. This is all like a teeter-totter over the pivot. You got it. That's enough. Over the pivot of the standing leg. Isn't that so fun? It's so fun. All right, second side. Left leg, just tuck the toes under and find neutral. Where's the weight in the hands? External rotation, take the leg up. The foot has to be higher than the butt. It's almost in line with the crown of the head. And then draw the belly in and hug. So your tendency is to like dump over to throw the leg way over to that side. Hug in with the outer right seat. Draw the belly in. Ready? Dolphin. Leg up. Whoop. Hands. Do a little push up to lift the leg higher. Suspend. Dolphin. This side's harder for me. Whoop. Push up. Whoop. Dolphin. And yes. So good. Do it like 10 more. Or 2 more well, rather than 10 where you go into some habit or tendency where it creates less space in the standing leg hip. Use your back seat. Use the back line of the body. So nice. Okay, and then come out. Bring your knees together. Circle your hips around. Come up onto the hands. Circle in the other way. All right. And then you can take your weights off. You're going to lift that back leg if you're using weights, and your leg's going to like fly up. It's going to feel like it has wings. Okay. Let's come back. Actually, let's just do a down dog first. And you should really feel like you're really in those legs. So lift the heels, lift the buttock bones, open the armpits in 2 directions, wag your hips from side to side to create more length in the side body. And then come forward to plank pose, which should feel so easy because you've done so much core work already. And then go up and back to a dog pose. Walk your feet in halfway. Walk your hands back, come to a hang. So just drape the upper body over the legs. You'll feel this, it'll almost feel more intense, right? Because we did so much work in the legs. Now we're trying to lengthen or open up or find the middle. Let the head go, release the back of the neck. All right, lift up onto the fingertips. Pull the chest forward like you're trying to simulate a dog pose, and then bring your hands to the blocks as far forward as you can so your arms are straight. Hips move back. Yeah, so it's a modified dog pose. This is, you can think about this as an amazing therapeutic dog for people that are having some shoulder issues, some wrist issues where they tend to weight bear too much in the upper body. So this really trains the proper mechanics of a downward facing dog. Okay. Lift up. You're going to walk the blocks back so you can be in this Ardha Uttanasana, chest moving forward, arms straight. So my hips are still over my heels, so they're not coming forward. That's going to put too much weight in the arms. Yes. Okay. Now the right leg is going to be the lifting leg. Sweep. I want you to drag your foot, point the toes. Lift the leg, just neutral. Just neutral. Don't let the hip turn open. And then bend the knee and then press it. Bend the knee and actually reach through the heel. Pretend like you're closing a door behind you. One more time. Soften both knees. And then really press that right one back. And then from there, pull the chest forward, come onto the fingertips. So you're getting so long. Hug the outer left seat in, outer left hip in. You should have weight in the big toe mound of that left foot. And then bring the right leg down. Bend both knees a couple of times. Pump the legs. Don't round the back. And then sweep the left leg back, like drag it back, create resistance, and then float it up. Again, you should feel so easy to float up if you've taken the weights off. Left butt on its own side, Paula. That's it. Toes point down. Think that the inner thigh is lifting to the ceiling. And now pull the chest forward. There should be more weight in the ball of the right foot than anything else. And the inside of the foot as you hug that right hip in. Bend the left leg, kick through the heel. Bend the left leg, kick through the heel. Bend the left leg, kick through the heel, and pull the chest forward. So nice. Look at my leg. Look at your leg. That's it. Left leg down, right next to the right. Bend the knees, come down into a squat. So fun. Okay. Now we're going to go through again that rotation. So we did the neutral. We're going to do neutral and stack. Neutral and stack. Neutral and stack. Okay? So I will turn forward and hopefully you'll be able to see my foot. So neutral, you can't see my foot. External, oh, you can't really see my foot. I'll do it this way. So same thing, okay? We were here. This is where we are. Neutral. I could put this block on my sacrum and it wouldn't fall. Then when I stack, of course it would fall. Neutral. Stack, okay? And so what you're feeling, it's like going from here to here. There's much more of a, if this is the standing leg, there's much more of a stretch being happening on the upper inner leg. Hug the standing leg in to then take that energy out through the crown of the head. Okay? And then, because hopefully you're going to do this class again and again on the recording, the most common mistake I see in this pose, you'll be able to see it from the side. So when I take my right leg back behind me and I turn open, okay, we see my right leg is on my left side? No, 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 no. Because your body's going to start, you're going to start to turn in. It's going to create havoc in the inner knee when people start to turn their foot in. But suddenly they're totally off course. So the right heel is still in line with the right buttock bone. It's just externally rotating. It's not going over here. Make sense? Okay, let's try it. And I want you to think about the standing leg as much as you're thinking about the working leg. So scrub the right leg back behind you. Pull the chest forward. Soften the left knee. Squeeze the outer left hip in. So all that work that we did, all those little rotations. Lift the right leg up, 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 up. That's it. See how you just pulled your chest forward? Probably just able to come through yourself. Now, external rotation. Toes turn out to the side. Now, stack the right hip up on top of the left. Do not throw the right leg back behind you to the left side. Imagine you're pressing through the heel, closing a door, pull the chest forward. Lift up off the left hip, turn the toes back down, put a block on your sacrum in your imagination, and it won't fall. Now, stack your hip up again. Right hip tips up on top of the left, yes, and then come back to neutral. One more time. Stack the hip up. Right hip right on top of the left. There should be no weight in this right hand. You should be able to dangle it. You can even sweep it up out to the side. Press through the right heel more. Reach through the crown of the head. Pull it apart in so many directions that there's only spaciousness and expansion. Nice. Right arm down. Right toes down. Right foot next to the left. Bend and straighten the legs a couple of times. Take more weight into the legs so you can take your hands off the blocks. So what shifting did you have to do to get that? Right? You should just be in the legs, come down to a squat. So nice. You can even bring the knees down a little bit, get a little footwork, underside of the foot, because you're sitting on your heels in that Vajrasana that we love to do. Roll the shoulders up, back and down, especially if you kind of dumped into the hands a little too much. Look to the right, look to the left, make sure your head is on, perched on straight. And then we'll do the other side. So good. Lift up. Okay, what lifted you up? Your hands? Did your hands press you up? Asking for a friend, Paula. Okay. Ready? Shift the weight into the right leg. Sweep the left leg back. Keep the hip neutral. It's harder. Hamstrings, back of seat. Toes are pointing down. Little bend to the left knee. Kick the inner heel back. Pull the chest forward. Nice. Now external rotation. Then tip the left hip up. Stack it on top of the right. Do not throw the right leg all the way over to the left side. That's it, Paula. Move the foot to the left. Keep stacking the left hip on top of the right. This is what's going to help you have more space in that right hip, okay? Toes point down. Toes point out to the side. Left hip stacks on top of the right. You should be able to lift your left hand up off the ground. Lift up out of the right hip. This is going to be the hard part for you, okay? Lift up. Feel like the belly hollows to lift you up off that right standing leg hip. And then same thing, the transition, the transition, the transition. 2 more times. You can do this with your fingers on the blocks. Just think your hips going to stack, your hips are going to be level. And then end with your hips stacking, and if you want to expand it out, crown of the head goes across from the reach of the left heel. And then the spine is long, 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 and then the shoulders stack up north and south, just like the hips. Lift up off the right hip. Bring the left foot down. Widen the toes. Come into external rotation and come into a squat in external rotation. So good. Okay. Let's sit on our same thing, okay, if you can. So here we came down from our squat parallel, and we just sat in Vajrasana, which you guys are really familiar with. But can you do it with the legs turned out? So it really gets into the big toe side of the foot, which most of us kind of avoid on one foot. Yeah. So see if you can feel that. Zip up, roll the shoulders. Yeah. And then just weight one foot more than the other just by swishing your hips a little side to side. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. And then it'll be easy. Let's go to pigeon pose. Right leg. And again, external rotation is the easier movement for people. But really move your hips to the left so you really stay in the middle. So instead of dumping into the right hip, which is really what the whole class was about, trying to find a way to not do that, especially during transitions, you really get where we're trying to open. We're really getting into the front of the right hip, which is going to allow the back of the left hip, which is where we're feeling it, because that's what's lengthening. Pull the belly back to pull the belly forward. Elbows come down just like we were doing in that transition, right? And so even here, can you come up and come down? Can you find it? It's so fun. Okay, pull the chest forward. Find the pinky toe side of the left foot. Find the right buttock bone moving back and out to its own side. Reach out through the crown of the head. Walk your hands out and over to the right. Come down onto the thigh. The more, it's so counterintuitive, the more you move your hips, think that you're going to move weight to the left hip, the more you'll feel the right, and the more you'll lengthen the left side. Release the release the left shoulder to feel the right hip more. And that's like one of those subconscious things. Come back to the middle. But you might not even aware you're doing it. But then I say, relax your left shoulder, you let it go, and suddenly your right hip is like, oh my God, right? Body is so smart. The body has learned all these different ways to kind of work around. Go over to the left without pulling your hips to forward or to the left. Go out to the left with your right elbow, but move back with your right buttock bone. That's the anchoring and the yearning. That's what's going to affect change. Now, from there, just think your sternum is going to come forward a little bit. And it's minuscule, not just the chin. It's not just the chin, not a Pez dispenser. It's from below. It's one of those things that barely looks like anything is happening, but wow, there's so much happening. Come back to the middle, walk your hands back. Okay, same thing. Gather the legs. We've done so much work in that lower body. Gather the legs that you can actually like not use your hands. Oh, so good. That's it. Can you stay in the middle of yourself? Really find the axis mundi, right? The Merudanda. Bring the bottom leg around. Yeah. Okay, the whole left foot. The whole left butt. That's what someone had asked for outer seat down the thigh. I think it was Meredith the other day. But this is what's going to get into it. And if you let it lift up, it's not going to happen. And if you don't have the big toe mound down, you're not really getting the whole, you're not getting the full Monty of the pose. Lift the chest. Reach out through the crown of the head. Send the breath up and down the outer left leg. Nice. And then bring your right elbow around, hug it in, and then spin. The right shoulder blade goes wide, the right shoulder comes forward, the left hand comes back, the left collarbone broad. And so unlike Ardha Chandrasana, where we were spinning the shoulders to match the hips when the pelvis was stacking, here the left knee goes forward and to the right, and the shoulders spin around. So you have a diamond, right? You have east, west, north, and south. Come back around. So nice. Straighten the left leg, straighten the right leg. Find the edge of your blanket. Just point and flex your feet. Circle them around. Again, you were working all the way around the hip joint here. And then fold forward, knees into armpits. So same thing. We're not gonna pull on the back to get length in the hamstrings. We're gonna kick the heels forward one at a time because you can't scooch back if you're on a blanket. Or if you're on a soft, if you're on the hardwood, you could just scoot your butt back. It's easy. Toes point up towards the ceiling. Hips are neutral. And then come up in a back bend. You can even sweep the arms out to the side and up. There's this like feeling of lightness and suspension. And then we'll do pigeon on the other side. So if you want to come in through dog pose, totally fine. Otherwise, you can just set the left leg and bring the right one back behind you. But you have to really center the hips. Okay? Oftentimes teachers will say, bring the front shin parallel to the front of your mat. But if you're not looking at what the pelvis is doing, that is a horrible instruction because it only gives you a part of it. It doesn't actually maintain the anchor, which is the pubic bone forward, right? Like this is my pubic bone is forward. This is really if my shin is parallel, see where my knee is. Whereas if I'm just doing that, I'm not doing anything except setting myself up for an injury or a degradation in the hip down the line. Okay? So if I'm going to hold my pelvis forward, this is really where my foot belongs. So right butt over to its own side. Walk the hands out. Pull the chest forward. Stick the left butt out. Again, you barely saw anything happen on the screen to me, but I can tell you a whole other a whole other story as to what just started working, what started lengthening, what was allowed to not do it all by themselves. Pull the chest forward, find the baby toe side of the right foot, shift your hips to the right. So when you get off that left buttock bone, the left buttock bone finally can start to go somewhere to the back left corner. Find your right pinky toe. That's it. Now pull the chest forward. And so it's increments, like a millimeter at a time of creating more space in 3 different areas. It's going to open up the middle, which is going to just allow the breath. Walk your hands over to the left now. Move the belly back on the left side so the whole torso can eventually come down on the thigh. The right outer hip has to stay on its own side. Then the left hand can crawl forward, eking out more length and space in the left side body. Eventually, the sternum's on the thigh, the forehead is even on the ground. And again, release the right shoulder, relax the right shoulder to feel the left outer hip more. Reach through the left inner heel. And then come up, go all the way around to the right side. Stay up on the fingertips, pull the chest forward, stick your left butt out, maybe the elbows come down. Letting the side lower ribs really expand wide with the breath. Come back to the middle. Walk the hands back. Gather the legs underneath you. See if you can walk your hands back, 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 back. Head over shoulders, ribs over pelvis, and then make sure there's nothing in your way that you're going to kick. Bring the right leg all the way around. That's it. Whole right foot on the ground, whole right butt on the ground. Right, so the knee will be a little bit more floppy if this is tight, is pulling it. Lift up, reach up tall, shoulders east and west, hips east and west. You may already feel it in the outer seat. And then hug in, lift up, revolve, 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 but drop that right buttock bone down and send the pubic bone forward. So you get out of the lower back. And then find that little flare, that lift of the sternum at the end, the spreading apart of both collarbones. So nice. Come back to the middle. Right knee over the left. Wiggle, waggle. Hands behind you. Legs out. Left knee over the right. Wiggle, waggle. So nice. Legs out. Bring the heels together. Turn your feet up. And then cross and come into virasana. Let the eyes close. Just take 30 seconds. Just notice what you notice, right? That was a lot. I can still feel that same place that was tired after the active internal and external rotation we did. But I feel like my legs are like to the earth and my arms are not. So what's happening in your body right now? Where did it open? What learning happened? Because, you know, I believe that every time we come to the mat, there should be an insight. There should be a gain, right? Even if it's just informational of where to go next time, what you need to focus on. Bring the hands on Jali Mudra. Thank you so much. I know how busy life is, and especially like in the summer season right now, I know you could be spending your time doing anything else. I really appreciate when you choose to spend an hour with me. Um, so thank you.